welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live, our weekly show right here on the internet. And as always, we are broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube, but you can also find us in other places, like we're also on Twitter and Instagram and also TikTok. And you can find us in all those places at Bob's Market. So, what I have for today's show is kind of revisiting something, and I noticed watching our opening titles that what I'm planting in that, the little flower bed, that's what we're going to be addressing in today's show. So, we're going to be replanting it. But first, I wanted to head out to the greenhouse and give you an update on what's going on out there. So last week we were taking a look at poinsettia crops because we always have Christmas in July here at Bob's. This is the time of year when we start our poinsettias from cuttings. And also this time of year we're growing pansies from seeds. So that is the bulk of our business this time of year is pansy seedlings. And we ship literally tens of millions of little pansy seedlings this time of year to customers all up and down the East Coast and as far away as Texas. So let's take a look at this year's pansy crop. This afternoon I'm out here in the greenhouse where we have part of this year's fall pansy crop. So this time of year we're growing pansy seedlings for fall. And since they're a cool weather crop, we have to try to keep the greenhouse cool, which on a day like today is pretty hard. So overhead right now we have all of the shade cloth pulled, and then also over here to the side, we have the side vents open. So that helps reflect the sunlight, and then we also get a nice cross breeze through the greenhouse to help keep the temperature down. So in the fall, we grow a few different tray sizes that we don't grow in the springtime. And one of those is a 338. So this single tray of seedlings right here has 388 little seedling plugs. And then each bench, which is this little square block right here, holds 50 trays. And then in this greenhouse, each bay, each walkway right here, has 32 benches. So you can do the math on that. So that's what's happening out in the greenhouse today. And I was literally out there just maybe an hour or so ago filming that. And it was really cool because it was kind of partly cloudy out and the clouds were going over. And you get this really neat effect this time of year with the shade cloth pulled on partly cloudy days like that, where you can actually see the clouds moving over the greenhouse. So it'll get dark down at one end of the greenhouse and it'll slowly move down the length of the greenhouse. It's really kind of weird. The other thing that I wanted to take a look at this week is replanting a flower bed. So, of course, if you're a gardener, you've experienced this. You plant a flower bed, it looks beautiful, and then all of a sudden something happens to it and it just goes, I've had it happen, with containers and different things over the years. And really, it's one of those things that happens and you just have to dig it up and kind of continue on and start from scratch. So I had that happen with a bed that had petunias in it. And, well, in this video, I replace it And hopefully it'll stay looking pretty nice up until fall when I can plant fall pansies. So let's take a look at that. Today I'm out here in my front yard where I had a little bit of a failure. So earlier in the springtime I planted some white petunias out here and created kind of an area where I have a sign that has our house number and a light that shines on it at nighttime. Now, I'm not going to show you the front sign because I don't really want to dox myself. But the flowers here in the actual flower bed are doing pretty well. But in the little side bed that I made, while I was gone to cultivate, they didn't fare so well. I guess I should have gave them some more water before I left. So anyhow, today I'm going to be replacing those and then also putting in some fresh mulch, because since this spring with grass being blown into it while mowing grass at different times and different things like that, the mulch doesn't look too great. So I'm just going to kind of give this bed a refresh with some new plants, just to keep it looking nice until fall when I plant fall pansies and bulbs and stuff in it. So, well, let's go ahead and get started. So yeah, this bed looks pretty good. This bed, not so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull these out and kind of chuck them over in the yard. And then I'm just going to run the lawnmower over them when I mow grass here later this afternoon. And that way I don't have to worry about hauling them over to the compost pile or anything like that. Yeah, these are toast. Actually, it looks like I might have had, oh yeah, I had ground moles. They ate off the bottoms of the plants. Like, they're completely chewed off at the roots. So that's what happened. Alright, so what I have to plant here is a couple white mandevilla and then some white wave petunias. Now, I know it's later in the season and these waves are starting to look a little long in the tooth, but I think I could trim them back and get a little bit more performance out of them. And as for the mandevillas, I'm going to plant them on each side of my new address sign. And then I'm going to put in a hoop of wire that they can hopefully vine up and around. So I think that will add some interest right here in this bed and kind of help frame the sign. So that's my plan, and I've got a trench dug to plant everything in. That's the nice thing about this little space right here, is I can just kind of dig a little trench and plant everything all at once. So let's go ahead and get this planted. Alright, so here is the finished bed. And what I ended up using for the mandevilla to vine up was an old tomato stake that I just spray painted black. However, this is one of those plastic coated metal rods, and when I went to bend it, it snapped in the middle. But, you know, this is just acting as a support for the mandevilla, so, and it's recycled, so I'm not going to worry about it. But what I do want to show you is what it looks like from the front. So what I'm going to do is snap a picture, and I'm going to put it up right now. But what I'm going to do is just block out the address. So here's what it looks like. And assuming I did a good job editing, you're seeing it right now. Also, the mum that I overwintered and trimmed a few times in previous videos, it is just massive this year. And this was grown from, I think, a 6-inch mum pot. So, yeah, it is possible. You know, it's kind of a 50-50 chance whether it makes it through the winter or not. But sometimes you get lucky and you can overwinter a mum. But yeah, this is what it looks like kind of late season. It hasn't even started to produce buds yet, so it's got a lot more growing to do. And for reference, this bed is 4 feet long. So yeah, it is ginormous. Yeah, so that plant to the left, that is a sedum, and it is called Autumn Joy, is that particular type of sedum. But there's a bunch of different varieties, and it's a perennial, so it comes back year after year. And it kind of gets green and bushy during the summertime, and then in the fall, the top of it will bloom, and they range in color from kind of a light to a dark maroon. Um, so you have kind of those red ranges, beautiful fall colors. Um, but they're a super easy plant to grow, and they'll grow just about anywhere. In fact, my mother and father-in-law, they have one on one side of their house, and bits of it have broken off and taken root in other places. So all around their property, they have little patches of the sedum growing in their flower beds. Um, and in fact, the one that was there, um, it was gifted to me by somebody here at work. Their neighbor was pulling them out and replacing them. They dug it up, stuck it in an empty mulch bag, and brought it to me at work. I forgot about it. It stayed in the trunk of my car for a few days. And then I had it in the garage for maybe a month or so, just, hitting it with some water every now and then before I temporarily planted it. And then this last year, I kind of moved it to that location as its permanent location. So, yeah, they can withstand some abuse. So that one, it's been put through the ringer, and it still looks pretty good. So they're a great plant to grow, especially if you're a beginning gardener and you're looking for something easy to add to your landscape that'll come back year after year, where it's a perennial. So yeah, they're just a great plant. The last thing that I wanted to talk about this week is our virtual fair. So right now we have our virtual fair going on, and if you head over to our website at bobsmarket.com, there's a link up at the top, and it'll take you to the virtual fair page. So if we jump over there now, uh, so this is the page for the virtual fair. And let me go back to the home page. So it is, if you go to our home page, it is right here at the top above the link for Bob's Live. And each week we're doing a different contest for the virtual fair. So last week we had a photo contest, and well, they're all photo contests, so you have to submit photos of your entries. Um, but right here is the format to use when emailing. So right now I have up that we're taking entries for home canning, which is this week's contest. Um, and I had somebody that just added a bunch of photos into the comments section on Facebook. Um, that doesn't really help me out because I need to be able to match them up later whenever I'm building the page over on our website. And then also, if you win a ribbon, I need your address so I can send out your prize. Um, So basically, there's a little email format up here, and if you click this button, depending on how you have your email set up, it'll automatically generate this form, and then all that you have to do is fill in your information, attach your photo, and email it. If you can't do that, just be sure to include your name, address, what division or category you're entering, and then, of course, attach the photo, and then email it to ask@bobsmarket.com. That's kind of our general email address. It's ask@bobsmarket.com. So last week was photography, and this week we're doing home canning. So the divisions for home canning are fruits and pie fillings. I'm kind of getting out of the way here so you can see it. Fruits and pie fillings, jams and jellies, meats, pickles, and vegetables. I think that covers pretty much everything. If you've got something else that doesn't really fall into one of those categories, I might create a separate category that's sort of a miscellaneous. But yeah, snap some pictures of anything. It's anything since last year's fair. So anything through fall of 2020 into 2021 that you've canned. You can snap a picture of it and send it in with a description, and of course your name and address, and yeah, we'll sort through them and pick the winners. So speaking of, last week, I don't know if it's just that I didn't advertise it enough, but we didn't get a lot of entries for the photo contest last week, and somebody commented on Facebook. It was like, we had all these photos, but there were just a few people that won all the prizes, and that's because they were the only ones that submitted entries. But yeah, we had some great entries last week. So you can check out last week's entries. And then down at the bottom, I include a slideshow of all of the entries. So go ahead and send us photos of your canned goods. And we'll be sorting through them and picking out the winners. And I've already got some great entries for this week. And if you know anybody that's into home canning, be sure to send them a link to this. So at least a link to our website, bobsmarket.com, and they can find the link from there to get to the virtual fair. And oh, I am lost. There we go. And well, that is all that I have for this week. So until next time, keep growing.